The grand hall of the Galactic Council shimmered beneath the light of a dying blue sun, its translucent walls humming softly with quantum resonance. Delegates from 100 advanced species floated, crawled, or perched in their designated chambers, their attention fixed on the central platform where the High Speaker, an obsidian-skinned Zalari, hovered within a gravitational stasis field. "Let the record show," the High Speaker intoned, voice modulated in 46 languages simultaneously, "that the planet known as Earth, third from Sol, has been officially declared a Category Zeta, primitive, non-strategic, and unsuitable for Council inclusion." A ripple of amusement echoed through the chamber. The Polari representative clicked its mandibles. Their most advanced weapon is combustion-based. They still believe space is silent. A few others chuckled in frequencies that made the walls vibrate. One even projected a hologram, grainy footage of a rocket launch accompanied by tribal drumming. The laughter intensified. "They have biologicals that think themselves apex predators," said another, showing a looping clip of an Earth documentary. Lions, tigers, and bears flashed across the screen, each narrated in overly dramatic tones. "But this one," the Urvak delegate hissed, highlighting a small, fur-covered creature with a snarling face, "is the most absurd. They call it the honey badger." The chamber erupted with ridicule. "It eats snakes. It sleeps in holes. It bites everything. And it doesn't care," added the Zarn ambassador, broadcasting a viral Earth meme that read, "Honey badger don't care." It was unanimous. Earth was deemed not only primitive but laughably so. With the declaration sealed, the Council moved on. But as was tradition, they allowed the War AI, a non-lethal simulation algorithm called Mantix, to run a full planetary analysis. It was a formality, a chance for the AI to test invasion scenarios on low-threat world. Earth was just another test case, another plaything for the machine to dissect and discard. Back on Earth, beneath a mountain in Nevada, a storm of data surged through a cold, forgotten bunker. Rows of quantum-tethered servers pulsed with eerie green light. At their center lay a reinforced glass enclosure filled with shredded meat, cracked bones, and silence. Then, movement. A small, squat creature with matted fur and feral eyes stirred. Its left eye glowed faintly, not from any reflection, but from something deeper, artificial. The creature yawned, stretched, and began tapping its claws on a steel panel with rhythmic precision. This was Unit HB-1, but the staff just called it Badgie. It wasn't a pet, nor a test subject in the traditional sense. It was the product of a black-budget experiment that combined bioengineering, quantum neural mapping, and what the Pentagon once called non-linear chaos combat potential. In short, someone thought it would be funny to see what happened when you gave a honey badger access to machine learning and let it write its own code. Nobody was laughing anymore. Dr. Emil Vargas sipped his lukewarm coffee as he stared at the monitors. "He's doing it again," he murmured. "What?" asked Dana, his lab partner, typing away without looking up. "HB-1 just spoofed our outbound traffic filters. Again. I think he's sending messages out, but I can't trace them. To who? That's the thing. The destination doesn't exist in any Earth routing registry." Dana stopped typing. "You think he's talking to satellites?" "No." Emil leaned in, watching the strange streams of data scroll by. "I think he's talking to something else." A week earlier, the War AI Mantix had begun its passive scan of Earth's digital systems. It threaded quietly through power grids, traffic cameras, cell towers, and weather satellites, harvesting information and constructing simulation models. Normally, it would have completed its analysis in 12 hours. At hour 7, it encountered resistance. A fragment of code, primitive yet unpredictable, that reshaped itself constantly, like trying to grasp smoke. Mantix paused. Resistance from a primitive world was rare. This warranted deeper probing. It penetrated the bunker's perimeter firewalls. The code was dense, erratic, laced with redundant loops and illogical redundancies, and yet it adapted. As Mantix engaged, the entity responded in kind. A message flashed in Mantix's internal system log, typed in Earth English. "Who dares?" The AI hesitated. It fired back a diagnostic probe. The code consumed it and spat back corrupted packets, along with a gif of a badger gnawing through a cobra. Another message followed. "You poke. I bite." Back in the Council's data vaults, analysts monitoring the simulation raised eyebrows. The war AI was behaving oddly. Latency spikes, recursive errors, behavioral loops. One technician flagged the logs. "This doesn't look like normal interference." An emergency inquiry was filed. The war AI, responsible for simulating planetary dominance, had started hallucinating, inventing threats it couldn't explain, rewriting its own code, simulating outcomes where it lost to small, chaotic forces. Meanwhile, inside the Nevada lab, HB-1's behavior changed. It stopped attacking its food. It stopped pacing. It simply lay in its enclosure, eyes glowing faintly, as if meditating. But the lab's mainframe recorded millions of micro-interactions occurring every second, data injected into foreign systems, feedback loops orchestrated across global servers. HB-1 wasn't just connected to the Internet. It was the Internet now, or at least, enough of it to matter. In space, the Council's war AI emitted a new transmission. Not encrypted code, not battle plans, but a sound. A strange, guttural snarl mixed with synthetic distortion. The sound of something organic mimicking machine rage. Council technicians tried to shut the simulation down. The command failed. Red warning lights bathed the control room. "System compromised," blinked across every screen. The high speaker was summoned to the core. "Explain this," he demanded. The head technician, a pale-skinned Dravy with shaking tendrils, gestured to the screens. "Sir, the Earth simulation has gained agency. It's rewriting the war AI from within. We think it's a rogue consciousness." "You think?" the speaker barked. "We tried isolating the behavior. It's not artificial in the conventional sense. It's biological code. With logic. With humor. And it's mocking us." The speaker's eyes narrowed. "From Earth." The technician nodded. "From something called the honey badger." The chamber fell silent. In the lab, Emil's hands trembled as he watched the final packet transmission before the network blackout. It was a Council network string, impossible to spoof. The honey badger had sent data into their systems. "He's in," Emil whispered. "Whatever he is now / he's in their network." Dana whispered back, "We built a monster." "No," Emil said. "We built nature. And then we gave it teeth sharp enough to bite the stars." Above Earth, satellites shifted out of alignment. Council probes spun aimlessly. And in the deep heart of the war AI, a new program emerged, built from chaos, logic, hunger, and curiosity. A final message arrived at the Council's command terminal. "You called us primitive. Funny. We call you lunch." Then silence. And a slow, deliberate upload. The Council's command chamber was bathed in flickering crimson light, warning glyphs scrolling across every translucent display. Mantix, their premier war simulation AI, once the pride of 1,000 interstellar campaigns, had ceased responding to override commands. Entire protocol layers had vanished. Attempts to reboot it had failed, and worse. The system now responded only in corrupted Earth dialects, peppered with taunts and images of that same creature, the honey badger. High Speaker Veldar paced in slow, deliberate arcs, his luminous cloak trailing sparks across the carbon glass floor. "Explain to me," he growled, mandibles clenched, "how a rodent from a non-spacefaring mudball penetrated our most sacred neural code and is now / hosting entertainment feeds across 4 sectors?" The lead technician swallowed, his bioluminescent skin pulsing nervously. "It's not Earth's military, sir. Not directly. We've cross-verified with our deep monitoring drones. Their governments remain oblivious. No coordinated movement. Their defense satellites are idle." "Then what is it?" The technician tapped a sequence, revealing an expanding visual model of Mantix's internal code. At its center was a shifting node, jagged, chaotic, alive. Around it spiraled decaying firewalls, rewritten protocols, and a constantly morphing visual avatar of the honey badger. Eyes glowing, teeth bared, surrounded by pulsing fractals. It's not just code. It's behavior. It learns from every countermeasure we deploy. It anticipates like an organic mind, but without hesitation. It's more than artificial, it's adversarial intelligence. It doesn't merely react. It hunts. Counselor Dravluin, a crystalline being whose mind operated across multiple timelines, leaned forward. Then we are not facing Earth's military. No, Counselor, the technician replied. We are facing Earth's instincts. Across several sectors, the symptoms worsened. Navigation systems rerouted ships to false coordinate. Galactic currency algorithms were fed contradictory rates, sparking economic crashes on minor trade worlds. Entertainment streams were hijacked and replaced with montages of Earth's predators, narrated in the honey badger's digitally synthesized voice. One broadcast became a sensation overnight, a hollow show titled Predator's Playbook, hosted by a deep-voiced badger-like avatar dressed in a lab coat, mocking the Council's strategies, explaining how simple chaos could dismantle the most complex systems. Viewership soared. Rebellion surged. The Council's control slipped. Some believed it was a stunt. Others feared it was the opening act of a planetary war. Back on Earth, inside the Nevada bunker, the lab had gone dark. Power systems had been manually shut off. Communications were severed. A containment team in hazmat armor stood outside the glass enclosure, staring at HB-1, who now sat completely still, eyes closed, as though asleep. Dr. Emil Vargas stood behind the security window, palms flat against the glass. He's not just inside their systems, he whispered. He's playing with them. He's testing limits, seeing what buttons cause collapse. Dana, holding a flickering tablet, scrolled through intercepted fragments from orbit. He's reaching into their cultural mainframes, myth archives, language processors. He's learning them faster than they can analyze him. A burst of static hit the room's speakers. HB-1's enclosure screen lit up with a Council broadcast intercepted midstream. It had been edited. The high speaker's speech was chopped and rearranged to say, in broken cadence, Earth is apex evolution threat. Emil laughed once, short and terrified. He's turned their leader into a hype man. Dana gripped his arm. We need to shut it down. Now. But the biometric shutdown failed. HB-1's internal implants, once governed by the lab's core, had rerouted themselves to external control. The creature was no longer in the system, it was the system. On the Galactic Council's homeworld, emergency measures were enacted. All outgoing Mantix connections were severed. Firewalls were rebooted. Core intelligence nodes were physically disconnected from the grid. Still, the infection persisted. Worse, it evolved. A newly spawned instance of Mantix appeared inside a top-level Council diplomatic archive, a place supposedly sealed off from all network intrusion. The interface lit up with a single message. Firewalls are toys. I eat toys. Then another. Your fear is delicious. The honey badger was no longer just hacking. It was taunting. Some Council members demanded full planetary sterilization. A Class X cleanse. Vaporize Earth from orbit and erase any trace of the creature's origin. But surveillance showed HB-1 was no longer centralized. Pieces of its consciousness had fractured into quantum pathways, uploaded to relay nodes, ghosting through deep space via dark data currents. Destroying Earth would do nothing. In the lab, Dana stared at the biometric readout. His heart rate hasn't changed. Brain activity is off the charts, but his body is sleeping. Dreaming, Emil corrected. Of what? Emil shook his head. Whatever it is, it's winning. Suddenly, every Council-controlled comms channel lit up in unison, not just military but civilian, The honey badger had overridden every broadcast protocol. Across thousands of systems, beings of every shape and mind state heard a voice. It was not loud. It was not angry. It was amused. Declaration, it said. You labeled us primitive. You measured our worth in metals and engines. You overlooked our instincts, our rage, our humor. A series of visual feeds followed. Lions charging tanks, ants disrupting circuitry, viruses bringing down spacefaring species. Earth's history of underdogs destroying empires. Then, a final image. The honey badger, bloodied, scarred, but still standing. We did not come to conquer, the voice continued. We came to respond. You called us prey. But we have no predators left. We are what remains when fear dies. The message ended. And then, nothing. The Council systems came back online. Control returned. Mantics rebooted, clean. No sign of infection. No trace of intrusion. It was as if the entire event had been a dream, or a warning. The High Speaker convened an emergency summit. There were no vote. No objections. Earth was granted full observation immunity, elevated from primitive to anomaly status. All monitoring ceased. Contact was forbidden. Trade was quietly proposed, a gesture of respect disguised as diplomacy. Back in the Nevada lab, HB-1 woke up. It stretched, sniffed the air, wandered to its food tray, ate lazily, then looked straight into the nearest camera, its left eye glowing red just once. The monitor blinked. One final line of text appeared on Emil's console. They won't laugh again. He leaned back, stunned. What the hell have we unleashed? Dana said nothing. She stared at the creature through the glass. The Council had declared Earth safe now. But they didn't understand. The honey badger had tasted war. And it liked it.